Miss Sharp, I am not happy.
Well, I am very sorry that you are not happy, but hello, Mrs. Patterson.
Okay, this book that you're reading in class, what? That doesn't make sense.
The book that we are reading in class right now is The Sister of the Traveling Pants. Can you maybe tell me more about why you're upset about that book?
Yeah, it talks about divorce, it talks about death. Like, that's not good for my daughter.
Can maybe you explain some reasons why it isn't good for your daughter right now?
Well, first of all, my daughter's best friend just passed away, so she's very upset about that. And also, my parents and her grandparents are getting a divorce. Like, they're not supposed to be talking about this in school. This is for church and for at home. Her feelings should not be at school.
I understand where you're coming from because I know that divorce is becoming a more normal thing for us to talk about. But we're really trying to bring it into school so that maybe our kids can work through their feelings and really work through that. And I know that her best friend had just passed away. It is very heartbreaking for us here at school also because many of the students are feeling the same way that she is. And this was kind of the reason why we kind of started to bring this in, because we really wanted the kids to have to think about like death and how it portrays in our lives and stuff, and that maybe they're gone but they aren't forgotten type of thing.
But this conversation should be at home and in church. She should be talking about those feelings in church, not at school.
I understand that you feel that way, and I think that that is a very true statement. Here at school, we kind of had the talk with some of our staff, and we thought that this would be a good thing for all of the students. But I see that you think that it is not. Can you maybe explain more of that?
Because I don't even know what the book is about. I think it's stupid. I think she's talking about feelings in school when she shouldn't be. I think she's becoming vulnerable at school. I just don't understand.
Okay, so I see that you feel very frustrated about the fact that at school she is talking about these types of feelings about divorce and death, and maybe we need to have more interaction with us to talk about it, because she is starting to opening up in class about her feelings about the death situation, and I think that that's really good for her to work through that right now.
Are you sure about that? Because when she goes home, she just goes up to her room and she seems very upset, and I think that's because of the conversation that you're having at school.
Okay, so I see that that is something that would be very concerning as a parent, and I really think that maybe we need to have better lines of communication, because if I had known that, then I definitely would have had more caution about this type of thing, because I don't want to have her upset outside of school, but I do want her to try to work through things.
Well, does she have to read the book? Are there alternatives?
Let's think about that. Let's try to think about different alternatives. What type of thing are you thinking of?
Not reading the book in general. Just sitting back and relaxing in class. Because she could use that right now. She's got a lot going on.
Okay, so right now they're in high school and we're really trying to transition them into what's going to happen when they have to move out for college and type of things. So this is kind of more of what we had started to focus on when we read the book, other than just trying to help both kids through the death of one of their friends. But we've been really trying to work on the connection that all of these girls had in this book, and so that we really wanted to look at their friendship and their spending time apart during the summer. And so we're trying to look at those types of things, like they send the pants back and forth to each other, they write letters, because a lot of the time our children spend on their phone, or they send emails or text messages, or they call somebody right away. So we're trying to make sure that they understand that there's more than that.
Okay. How do those conversations happen, though? Like, walk me through a typical day in your classroom about talking about the Sister of Traveling Pants, where there's death, divorce, anger, all these different things. That's just not good for my daughter.
Okay, so through my class, the first thing that they do when they come in is I have them do silent reading for about 5 to 10 minutes, just to make sure that they've all caught up on what they were supposed to read the night before and get a little bit of a review. And then right after we do that, then we get in a big circle and we do our discussion time. And this is when we talk about like the main plots that were in the last couple chapters, and then talking about the friendship and how it has changed and is altered throughout the book. And now we are getting a little bit closer to the death portion, because we just found out one of the younger girls in the book has cancer. And so we kind of had to have a talk through about how that has affected them in their own lives compared to maybe how it's affecting the people in the book.
Is my daughter participating in this circle of friendship, whatever you have?
Yes, she is.
Okay, what is she saying?
So your daughter is saying how she kind of sees where one of the characters is coming from, because she just had her own best friend pass away from cancer, as you all know. And so she understands that where this girl is coming from, because she knows that she's frustrated and she's angry because of this poor girl did not have a choice to do this, and it's very unfair that she is passing away. But at the same time, she's starting to work through it, and she's becoming more an active participant in class again instead of being so secluded to herself.
I didn't realize that. What is she doing about the divorce situation? Is she talking about that? I know that her grandparents divorcing has been really hard on her.
Yep.
And hard on our family. Church is just not the same. We
So,
don't go together.
as we talk about the divorce, it is kind of more of a back burner type thing in the book right now, because of, I think, so much of the whole class has been dealing with one of their friends passing away, and I think that's really right now at the forefront of her brain, in class at least, because I don't get to see a lot of the divorce part. But I definitely can see where you're coming from, because you are having to go to church without your family and having to understand that connection, and maybe she isn't talking about that in class, but throughout the book, the divorce is talking about how a girl's parents had divorced when she was younger, and so maybe she isn't putting herself in that girl's situation and maybe analyzing that as much.
Okay, I'm starting to understand a little bit more. Calm down. What kind of activities are you doing for homework? I get the whole talking about friendship, but what else is she having to do at home with this book?
Okay, so at home, I really try to have them read at night at least 2 chapters. But on top of that, they also have to write in a journal. So that's kind of a different thing for them to do. So I don't read their journals until the very end of the book. So I have not had the chance to read your daughter's journal yet. But I know that as time goes on, that she has been progressing in it, because I go around and look at their, just making sure that they wrote the night before. I don't look at any specifics or anything. But that is part of her grade, is writing in the journal at night.
Am I allowed to read the journal?
If you would ask her, I am sure she would let you, because I'm sure that right now she's working through a lot of her feelings throughout that journal. And that was kind of my hope, was that this would be also a reflection, so that I could look and see what the kids have been reading. But this is also about them working through their own problems right now.
Okay. I'm understanding a little bit more now. What else does the book have that could affect my daughter positively or negatively?
So
that I should be upset about or happy about?
So positively right now, I would say that this is a great way for your daughter to be in a safe place and starting to work through her own feelings. But at the same time, I think this is also a book that is about friendship and learning how all of these friendships evolve as time goes along, and how these people will keep their friendships even though that they have their own problems in their own life, and that they kind of take them on their own path, but that their friends are still there for them, and so that they have a bigger community than they think they do sometimes, because sometimes kids start to feel like they're alone. I think a really great way that this book does that is that these girls go to different countries. One stays at home, one goes to a soccer camp type of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's a very great way for them to kind of place themselves in somebody else's shoes and see how they deal with things in life.
Okay. I do see her hanging out with her friends more in the weekends and at night.
Okay. So I understand that now you're starting to feel a little more comfortable with this book.
Yeah.
Does that sound like something that you'd be okay with her finishing this book? Because they only have about 4 days left of this book. So next week they should be finishing up.
I guess I can be okay with it. I just didn't understand, and I thought it was just very negative in the beginning, but I understand now the positivity behind it.
Okay, so maybe we need to have a little bit of a plan.
Okay.
So that as we move forward, if something like this comes along again, that we'll have communication right in the front. So would you maybe want to have me send like a book reading list home before we start like our new curriculum base for the rest of the year?
Yes, I would appreciate that, with a description on what it all talks about and what your plan is with the book.
Okay, that sounds perfect. How about, so when you came in today, you were very frustrated because this book talked about death and divorce, and now that we have talked more about it, is that still a very big concern for you, or do you think that this is becoming a more positive other than a negative?
I think I can see the positive from it. It's a concern still, just because we have a lot going on in our family, including the divorce of my parents and her friend, but I can see where she can learn from it and understand. I just wish I would have known from the beginning about what this book was about.
I feel very happy how this meeting has gone because we have worked through all of this, and I'm very sorry that maybe you felt that this book was just kind of sprung upon your daughter, because I know this is a very hard time for her, and I didn't want that to be a problem, but I see that it was. So next time that something like this happens, I'll be able to be a little more forward about things and maybe talk to the parents before I decide to do something like this.
Yes, okay.
So
Thank you for meeting with me today.
thanks. Do you have any further questions?
Nope, that's it.
Perfect. Well, I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.